Research Offices, Resources and Costs. Welcome to the Research Office, Resources and Costs session. Our lead service designer, Damien, is going to explain the resources and costs section of the application form today.
So one thing that is changing slightly with the new application form, obviously it's a new interface. The sections that we ask for are have been reviewed to ensure that we only ask for what we need and when we need it. So it's hopefully a more of a slimmed down experience to what we've previously requested in JES. And in that spirit, our resources and cost area has been reviewed as well. So I'm going to show you the differences in how we're requesting costs to how you might be used to provide them in the JES system. So if I go into the resources and cost section of an application, what I have here is the ability to enter costs for each organization involved on the grant. And so in this particular scenario, we only have one organization that's involved in this application. But if there were more, so perhaps if there was co-Is from other universities, then each university that was involved would be listed here, and we would be required to enter the cost for each of those universities. That helps us track where the funding goes, and also helps us to manage the costs at the UKRI end. But it's also nice to see that split of costs against the application in terms of where the funding is going. We've got a single justification of resources that will be required for each application, and that will cover all of the resources required on the proposal. That can be entered in the box there. And if we go into one of the organizations involved, what we can see here is I've got the ability to enter all my staff costs and then further information around, my DA and DI costs, for example. If I go into the staff costs, all of the staff that have been nominated as part of this grant application will come through to this section where I'll be required to add all the costs. If I go into one particular staff member, you can see I can identify whether they are DA or DI or an exception. I'll need to provide a start and end date, as well as an FTE and their total cost. And that's all the information that we need in order to process the grant and for assessment purposes. So we've captured the cost information for each staff member for this organization. We would do that for any other organizations involved. And when I go back and look at the costs here that have been attributed to this project, I can then look at the DA cost, for example. The staff costs have been pulled through because I've provided them up here. I can then go and add my estates, any other costs here. Similar for DI, but this covers equipment and travel, indirects and exceptions. Now, you'll notice that we're not asking for line by line breakdowns of all your costs. We don't need that for assessment. And therefore we don't need that to prepare a grant either. So we're not asking for that here. But when people are entering these costs, we need to be aware of the resources requested, and particularly anything significant that requires justification. So we've got clear guidance here on what we need in the justification of resources. So when we're completing the JOR, please refer to this. Again, we're not looking for line by line breakdown of every item of equipment, for example, but larger pieces of equipment, larger costs we would expect to be justified here.
So, that's an overview of the cost and resources sections. Expect to see growing functionality as the weeks and months pass, and we hope you enjoy using the new funding service. To find out more information about the current functionality within the funding service for research offices, please go to www.ukri.org and navigate to Apply for Funding. Improving your funding experience. And how research offices use the UKRI funding service. Thank you for watching this video on research offices costs and resources. If you would like to view more information about the funding service, then view our website www.ukri.org, as seen on screen here. For any queries or feedback, please contact the Funding Service Help Desk by emailing support@funding-service.ukri.org or by contacting the Help Desk on 01793 547490.